Okay, I've got a bold claim for you today that might completely rewrite how you look at your bank account. Making your very first $10,000? That is actually going to change your daily life way more drastically than making your first $100 million. Welcome to This Explainer. I'm Zach, and today we're breaking down the exact net worth jump that permanently changes your day-to-day existence. We're going to dive into this genuinely fascinating framework that splits wealth into 6 distinct levels. By the end of this explainer, you're going to walk away knowing exactly which level you're standing on right now, why the math of human happiness is heavily front-loaded, and the precise step-by-step action you can literally take this week to make the most important jump of your entire financial life.
So let's kick this off with a question I want you to really sit with for a second. Does going from $10 million to $100 million in net worth change someone's daily life as much as going from $10,000 to $100,000 does? I mean, mathematically, they're the exact same 10 times jump, right? Intuitively, most of us just kind of assume that more money always means proportionally more life change. We picture a 100 millionaire living a life 100 times different or better than a millionaire, just like a millionaire's life looks vastly different from someone who's just got 10 grand to their name. But that instinct, it's completely wrong. Your quality of life absolutely does not rise in a smooth, straight line as your bank account grows.
To really understand why, we need a map. So we're looking at data scientist Nick Maggiulli's wealth ladder. What this framework so elegantly illustrates is that wealth is experienced logarithmically, not linearly. Meaning, each rung on this ladder isn't just a fixed dollar amount being added on, it's a 10 times jump from the level right below it. Going from $10,000 to $20,000, that feels like a minor step, but going from $10 million to $11 million, that feels like basically nothing, even though the absolute dollar amount is a massive $1 million. Human beings just experience money in multiples. And something incredibly specific, a deep psychological shift, happens at each one of these thresholds.
Now, before we climb, it's absolutely crucial we're on the exact same page about what we're measuring here. We are talking about net worth. That is your total assets minus your total liabilities. We are not talking about your salary. Think of it like this. Income is a flow. It's the water running out of the faucet. Net worth is a stock. It's the water sitting in the bathtub. This explainer is entirely focused on what is actually in the tub, because your accumulated wealth is what dictates your true financial stability. And the first level of this ladder is exactly where that reality hits the hardest.
Here is the stark reality of level 1, under $10,000 in net worth. This is where a person's financial position is just genuinely precarious. At this level, the word budget isn't some aspirational spreadsheet you look at on Sundays, it is literal survival. The margin for error is exactly 0. The defining emotional signature of level 1 is this chronic background anxiety. Every single financial decision carries immediate heavy weight because a slow month at work or just one unexpected medical bill can destabilize absolutely everything. People at this level aren't sitting around optimizing asset allocation. They're just trying to build any kind of cushion at all while desperately avoiding high-interest debt that acts like quicksand.
The massive psychological shift between these bottom 2 rungs really comes down to how you handle everyday life. At level 1, your car breaking down is a complete catastrophe. It means missed work, missed pay, and potentially even missed rent. But jump to level 2, which is between $10,000 and $100,000 in net worth, and that exact same car repair, it simply becomes an annoying inconvenience. You pay the mechanic, you grumble about it for a day, and you move on with your life. At level 2, ordinary life stops being a series of potential emergencies. You achieve what I like to call grocery freedom. You can buy food without doing frantic mental arithmetic at the checkout counter, hoping your card doesn't decline. Now, the anxiety doesn't vanish entirely, but its intensity drops off an absolute cliff because you finally have a stable cushion. Let's quickly see how this builds across the rest of the ladder. At level 3, between 100 grand and $1 million, investing genuinely starts to matter. Your portfolio starts doing real heavy lifting for you. I mean, a historical 7% return on a $400,000 portfolio is $28,000. That's wealth growing while you sleep. At level 4, $1 million to $10 million, work often becomes genuinely optional. You hit financial independence. But notice what happens next. At level 5, $10 to $100 million, additional money mostly just functions as scorekeeping or funding much larger ambitions like philanthropy or businesses. And level 6, over $100 million, that is institutional capital. You're dealing with family offices and complex legal structures that bear literally zero resemblance to ordinary personal finance. Frankly, your problems at that level are mostly about figuring out what building to name after yourself. The day-to-day comfort between level 5 and level 6 is practically identical. Which brings us to the counterintuitive truth of this entire framework. The jump that matters most, the one that will absolutely transform your lived reality more than any other transition on that ladder, is not climbing into the millions. No, it is the jump from level 1 to level 2. Crossing that $10,000 net worth threshold and padding it toward $100,000 delivers the highest day-to-day life improvement of your life. Why? Because it completely removes sheer survival panic. That transition solves problems that cause actual daily human suffering. Solving a broken water heater problem feels vastly better than solving a multi-million-dollar estate tax problem. Now, the economic engine driving this reality is a concept called diminishing marginal utility. Think of it like drinking a glass of water when you've been wandering in the desert for days. That very first glass, it is life-changing. The second one is great, but by the 10th glass, you don't even want it. It might actually make you sick. The first $10,000 of net worth buys a vastly larger improvement in your lived experience than the millionth dollar does. The emotional returns on your money are just incredibly front-loaded. And this isn't just some nice philosophy, it is one of the most repeatedly proven concepts in all of behavioral economics. And we have the hard data to back this up. Check out this quote from the 2023 joint study by Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman and researcher Matthew Killingsworth. They resolved a long-standing debate in economics and found something really profound. For the least happy 20% of people, meaning those dealing with real emotional and financial suffering, well-being rises up to around $100,000 and then completely stops improving. Once money has solved your basic stability and removed your chronic stress, adding more money does absolutely nothing to fix what wasn't a money problem in the first place. Money's primary job is simply to get you past genuine suffering. And you know what? This exact pattern holds up at the extreme high end of the ladder too. The Harvard Millionaires studies surveyed thousands of high net worth individuals and found that wealthy folks worth $1 million and those worth $9 million reported almost identical levels of happiness. The data shows it was only at wealth levels in excess of $10 million that they saw any significant bump in happiness, and researchers noted that even then, the happiness gain was incredibly modest. Past level 4, vast multi-million-dollar increases yield almost invisible emotional returns. Kind of wild, right?
This highlights a massive trap for anyone building wealth. Once you reach level 4, where daily anxiety is solved and work is essentially optional, grinding for level 5 just because it's a higher number is a really dangerous game. If you have a specific purpose, like funding a charitable foundation, supporting special needs dependents, or building a generational business, then sure, climbing makes sense. But chasing wealth without a specific purpose, that just leads to endless scorekeeping. And scorekeeping is a game with absolutely no natural finish line. You're going to arrive at level 5 genuinely surprised that your Tuesday feels exactly the same as Tuesday felt a decade ago.
Now, a super quick but important reality check before we move to the strategy. This framework is a map, but your personal mileage is going to vary. Everything we're covering in this explainer is general education based on broad research, not personalized financial, legal, or tax advice. Obviously, a $10,000 net worth in rural Ohio provides a very different lived experience than 10 grand in downtown Manhattan. Your debt load, your health, your family size, all of these shift the thresholds. So always consult a licensed advisor for your specific situation.
All right, enough theory. Let's pivot smoothly to the good stuff. A practical, no-nonsense strategy. If clarity and trust beat excitement, well, the excitement should really come from knowing exactly what to do next. Most financial content out there tries to sell you on these super advanced strategies: tax loss harvesting, real estate syndications, complex Roth conversions. And hey, those are great tools if you're already at level 3 or 4. But for the vast majority of people, the single highest leverage move available doesn't require a hot stock tip or some weird tax loophole. It requires a gloriously boring, highly effective action plan to force your way into level 2.
And that brings us to the most powerful, unglamorous tool you can deploy this very week: $35. We've talked about the $35 a week automated savings rule before here, and it is essentially a purpose-built tool for conquering that massive jump to level 2. If you automate just $35 a week, pulling it out of your checking account before you can even see it, that's nearly $2,000 a year. Over 3 years, with a bit of interest, you're at over $6,000. Over 5 years, factoring in compounding, it crosses the $10,000 mark. This one simple automation is the key to the entire level 1 to level 2 transition, and it literally takes exactly 10 minutes to set up on your phone today. Let's lock this in with 5 step-by-step actions you can take right now. Step 1. Calculate your actual net worth today. Total assets minus total liabilities. Don't guess. Run the real numbers to see exactly which rung you were standing on. Step 2. If you're in level 1, make the jump to level 2 your absolute dominant priority. Ignore the noise, just build that cushion. Step 3. If you're higher up, manage your expectations. Know that the anxiety relief of level 2 was dramatic, but future milestones won't feel like a movie scene. Step 4. If you're approaching level 4 or 5, know exactly why you are climbing. Don't just chase a bigger number. And step 5, remember, this ladder is just a map, not a rigid rulebook for your life.
The ultimate takeaway here is that more money doesn't deliver proportionally more daily happiness at every single stage. It delivers happiness in steps, and the biggest step is the very first one, moving from genuine panic to a stable cushion. The framework quietly reminds us that sometimes the next real improvement in your life doesn't come from climbing higher, it comes from redirecting that energy to relationships, your health, and your purpose. So I'll leave you with this question. Are you grinding for a level of wealth that won't actually change your Tuesday? Which level are you currently in? And which jump has mattered the most in your life so far? Think about it, run the numbers, and if this explainer brought you some real clarity today, make sure to subscribe so we can keep building that wealth foundation together. I'm Zach, and I'll catch you in the next one.